I'm just glad that old people had their wee crisis over video games in the early 90s when it looked more like your opponent was leaking red house paint, rather than today when in the first hour of Mortal Kombat 11 you'll spill more pints than you'll die after a Scotland game. Hello, I'm Jordan Midler and welcome to Radge Quit, a show about video games. This week we're talking about murder, dismemberment and moral panic. Oh, and Mortal Kombat 11 too. You know Mortal Kombat, the legendary 2D fighter that has spilled more blood over the years than a dance floor made of broken glass and Lego. For more than 25 years now, it's been the favourite of many a masochist and a nightmare for many a parent and lawmaker alike. Back before vaping in school, video games were a powder keg for misinformed old people telling children they were wrong. I mean, take a look at how they talked about games in the 90s, it's as if they discovered a sequel to the Black Plague.
Like the Grinch who stole Christmas, these violent video games threaten to rob this particular holiday season of a spirit of goodwill.
You know, it's almost nostalgic to think back to when the US government's biggest problem was a few pixels. And that's the thing, it was only a few pixels. I mean, those original games are excellent, but look at them. You see more violent stuff on Paw Patrol? I mean, I assume. I stopped watching after the Red Wedding. Flash forward to Mortal Kombat 11 and you'd be forgiven to think these hysterics actually had a point. Mortal Kombat 11 is an excellent fighting game. It has a better story than most books, and it continues to be just about the only fighting game that I can play for more than an hour online without wanting to embed my controller in my own skull. It also looks amazing. The backgrounds are vibrant without being distracting from the action. The characters all look excellent, and the fan service via costumes and voice lines is great. Ronda Rousey's performance as Sonya Blade sounds like a dying text-to-speech program, but you can't win them all. She would know. But with those amazing visuals come the fatalities. Look, I'm not a squeamish person, occasionally I even have to look at myself in the mirror, but even I find a few of these a little bit much. Yeah, probably not one to play directly after a meal. Now, I find these hilarious mostly because I am a sadist with no value for human life, but it does make me wonder, are we going to get to a stage where people don't want to, or rather just can't watch these anymore?
Reset.
Deadly uppercut, take two.
Action. Cut.
Who hired this guy? What the f? Deadly uppercut, take 19.
You know those gore videos on Facebook that pop up occasionally and they completely ruin your day? Well, we're about one console cycle away from Mortal Kombat just becoming a mixtape of that. I think horror films have to walk a similar line. People obviously want to see gore, but I think it's the camp element. Mortal Kombat still rides that line. Sure, Johnny Cage is literally ripping the top half of a person off, but it's pretty hard to take it seriously when he then uses that half a person as a ventriloquist doll. For me, a perfect fatality has to be gory and funny, and I think a lot of them achieve that. It's like cutting off someone's head, but you pour seeds down the neck hole and it sprouts a flower. That's funny, and also not one, but it should be. I'm just glad that old people had their wee crisis over video games in the early 90s when it looked more like your opponent was leaking red house paint, rather than today when in the first hour of Mortal Kombat 11 you'll spill more pints than you'll die after a Scotland game. If this is what video games looked like back then, they would have made them more illegal than recreational bomb making. No, of course, today's media is far too sophisticated for that. They'd never get baited into a controversy about video games while knowing little to nothing about the subject.
Now the latest video game craze is Fortnite. It's free, addictive, violent, and kids love it. Should you be worried?
How many times do we need to teach you this lesson? Until next time, I'm Jordan Midler. See you later.